This presentation is brought to you by Terry Frazer's RV Center in Eldridge, Iowa. Good morning. Today we're going to discuss winterizing your Heritage Glen fifth wheel unit in preparation for those long, cold winter months. Prior to winterization, you're going to need to consider a couple of purchases. Now, first of all, you should already have a water regulator, pressure regulator connection just like that. Looks like that. You should be using that to begin with throughout the season when you're camping, when you use your fresh water connection. Now, in addition to that, you're going to need to purchase an RV blowout plug. This enables you to connect your air compressor quick fit on this side to this side, which connects into that pressure regulator. Do not, under any circumstances, ever attempt to apply your air compressor power directly to the RV without first the use of that pressure regulator. You will damage your plumbing in that process. Likewise, it's not a bad idea if your compressor does have a pressure regulation setting on it to regulate that back to about 40 psi. Now, your other purchase is going to be this RV Marine antifreeze. This is propylene glycol, not ethylene glycol. You must use propylene glycol. Ethylene glycol, such as they use with automotive antifreeze, not suitable or desirable for use with RVs. So you must use RV antifreeze. 2 jugs of that should be sufficient to get you through one winterization session here. Okay, start with over here with your hot water heater. You're going to want to turn the little tab on the top. The cover will slide back, pull it up off of the pegs there below. I'm going to store it over here. Now, here's your hot water heater apparatus. And because it's a hot water heater, it's called hot. It's hot. So you want to make sure it's cooled down before you start doing this. Don't scald your fingers. Down here is the anode rod. You're going to need, I believe it's 1.25 inches or 1.125 inches socket, and you're going to need an extension on that socket to get out and beyond this gas pipe, so you're not damaging that by accident when you're applying pressure with your socket wrench, large socket on there. Okay, I've already loosened this one up, so I'm going to finger loosen it here just a little. As you loosen it, it's going to start leaking water out. Be aware of that so you don't get your feet wet. There's the anode rod. By now, water would be pouring out from right there. It's going to come tumbling out. That's what you want. I'm going to put the anode rod to the side here, store it there for the time being until that is emptied out. Okay, coming back over to here. Now, you never, under any circumstances, want to pressurize your fresh tank. Therefore, this valve, which is currently in the camping position, in the use position, you want to shut it off. And that's a simple 90-degree turn like that. Now that handle is pointed 90 degrees perpendicular to the water flow here. You know it's shut off. Next, go ahead and take your pressure regulator, which should now be connected up to your blowout plug. Hook them up here to your city water connection. Pull the plug loose there, and you can just simply thread it onto there, just as you ordinarily would. Then you can apply your compressed air to that. At this point, you should have some additional flow coming from your hot water tank there. That'll blow that out, clear that flow out there. After a couple seconds, that's all it'll take. You can remove the air pressure from there. Next up, I would suggest hitting your bypass switch. Put that into the up position for winterization. That will disable any further flow of air or water into the hot water heater. You want that. You've already blown that out. You're not going to need to put any additional antifreeze into the hot water heater anyway. So, okay, this one is shut crosswise. This one's in the winterizing position. Next step, again, apply air pressure to your city water connection just as you did before. Then go through the unit, and it's time to blow out your fixtures throughout the unit. I'm going to come around over to here. We're going to step around inside. Now, this unit should be relatively easy to do for several reasons. You do not have an exterior sink on the unit, so you don't have to worry about that. There is not any washdown ports either along the front of the unit. Likewise, you won't have to worry about that either. And finally, and perhaps most significantly, you do not have a dishwasher or a washer and dryer, both of which would take some considerable additional effort to winterize. Okay, you've got that pressure from the air regulator applied outside there. Then it's time to blow the lines out and simply go from one fixture to another. I turn on the pressure first from the cold and go until it's finished. The water will be finished coming out of the faucet, and it'll start spraying, and air, a mist of air will come out of there. You know you've got all the water flushed out. Shut that off. Same thing with the hot side. Turn that one on. Same procedure. And go until, once again, all the water's out and then just a mist of air comes out. Shut that one off. Continue on. You do the same thing for every single fixture throughout the entire unit. That means coming up here to the biffy. Same thing with this sink, hot and cold, same way. Over here to the shower, same thing, hot and then cold. Once I'm done with the shower, I like to disconnect underneath here, disconnect this hose from underneath the faucet and let that drain out as well. Don't forget the biffy itself. All right, you're going to want to open up the lid, get to the flush valve, step on the flush valve, water will come out until, once again, air, and you've got the air forced all of the water out of that fixture too. And I believe that is all the fixtures you need to worry about in the unit, to the top of my knowledge. Then you've got the lines blown out. You're not quite done yet. You need to get that antifreeze cycled throughout the rest of the unit. All right, come back out over here. Then it's time to disconnect your air compressor. You're done with it. You're done with blowing it out. You're simply now in the process of adding in the antifreeze into your system. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. You probably would want to blow out your exterior shower here too, just as you had with the other fixtures. Okay, then, as I say, disconnect the air source. You're done with the air source. Now it's time to actually introduce the antifreeze agent into the unit. That's where this hose comes in very handy. And this is really cool that they've included it on this unit. Not every unit has this. Mine, well, I have to work a little bit harder at doing mine because I don't have this apparatus. Very handy. Anyway, you take the plug off the end of this right here. This is your suction port on the end. Take the plug out of there, after which then you can open up your jug of antifreeze here. Take the top off. You take the seal off of it. There's going to be a little foil seal there. And you simply poke it down and in there, all the way down as far in as you can go with it. And you're ready to start winterizing by introducing the antifreeze agent throughout the unit. All right, once you're hooked into there, then it's time to come back again to the inside. You want to turn on your supply pump because you're going to be using the pump again to supply the pressure to suck in that antifreeze, and you'll be ready to go. Come on over to here. There's our pump connection. Click. Put it in the up position. You probably hear the pump rumble a little bit. Then you come back through and you do the same thing you just did before, but this time it's going to be forcing through that pink agent. Turn on the faucet here. Wait until the air is done coming out, and you'll see at first maybe perhaps a little bit of water, and then it's going to turn bright pink. And once it turns bright pink, you're good to shut it off. Do the same thing on the hot side until it's pink. Shut it off. And yep, you got it. I won't go through the procedure again upstairs here in the biffy because you know what I'm talking about. You do that with every single one, hot and cold. Don't forget about the toilet itself. You continue until it's completely pink. Now, you probably halfway through will you'll exhaust your supply of antifreeze. You'll need to come back out and switch jugs to your second jug. As I say, a unit of this size will probably take close to 2 gallons to complete the job. So you come back out, switch jugs, and do it again until every one of those fixtures is putting out the pink agent, clearly, completely pink, not just partially pink, but fully pink. Then you know you've got all the water flushed out. Okay, don't forget your exterior shower connection here. Do the same thing throughout this hose too. Once you're done with that, I would suggest removing the hose here, loosen this up, and take it off for the winter. And with that, you've got your lines fully protected completely with water. Once again, a final reminder, do not forget, make sure you shut off your fresh tank there. 90 degrees will shut it off, so you're not going to introduce your antifreeze agent or pressurized air or anything of like that nature into your fresh tank. You wouldn't want to do that. It could damage it. Furthermore, you just don't want antifreeze in your fresh tank. It's just nasty. Okay, that takes care of things here mechanically. You're not quite done yet though. All right. Now, at this point, it's good. Hopefully you've already remembered to empty out your holding tanks there. You should have them empty to begin with. I should have mentioned that earlier. It would be a good idea to empty it once again to remove whatever's left inside it. If you're able to do that, that may not be available to you at your home. But it would be good to empty out the tanks. As long as they're relatively empty, you're fine. A little residual water or waste or whatever is in them is not entirely isn't a problem. Okay, in this case, your low point drains are going to be over here on the camp side. We're going to come down around right underneath here. And if you reach in with your hand, you'll eventually find them. There they are. I'll try and bring the camera down underneath here. These are 2 plugs, 1, 2, looks like that, and you simply turn. There's a relief. You may need a wrench on that a little bit to pull that off. Grab the top part with 1 wrench and another pliers or wrench on the bottom part. Gently unscrew each of those 2 plugs until you start getting a flow of water dripping out of there. You don't have to take it all the way out because it'll generally drain out before you get it all the way unscrewed. And that's your final step. You don't have to have any semblance of forced pressure behind it at all. It's a low point. Gravity will drain it on its own. And simply drain that until you see pink coming out, and then immediately seal it back up. Take your jug of antifreeze with you. Your last step. I almost forgot this. Good thing I thought of it. Take the jug into the unit. You're going to want to introduce some of the antifreeze agent into your various drains throughout the unit to protect the P-trap. So, going on inside with our jug of antifreeze here, I'm going to come in here to the sink in the kitchen. I'm going to pour in, approximately a cup into there, blub, blub, blub. Another cup into this side, blub, blub, blub. Do the same thing in the shower and in the sink. You do not need to do that with the toilet. There is no trap on the toilet. However, it doesn't hurt to put a couple tablespoons in there to lubricate the valve, the sealing valve portion on the toilet. With that, you should have everything done. Fold everything up, button it up, wipe it up, clean it up, and you're ready to go.